of which will not be affected really one whit. No matter what happens with health care, there's about 20 other sectors that they're working in. They won't be damaged, and they'll be a part of it. But this is, of course, the rhetoric and the pseudo-illusion that is floated out there so that you can be cornered into doing what they want us to do. In other words, going along with the solutions that the government is providing. I don't think I have to tell or warn any of you of how this can end up. If you open the door, you let that foot get in the door, the next thing you know, they're barging in and they're squatting in your house. Or they're kicking you out of the house and taking it over completely. Sorry for the mixed metaphors. Well, this is what I got today. And this is why I'm very concerned and why it's boiling my blood. Because if we fall for this, we have invited the vampire into our homes. The fight for net neutrality took a big step forward on Monday with the chair of the FCC announcing plans to expand the rules to protect a free and open Internet. Because that's what the FCC does, right? I mean, we look at every other aspect that the FCC has intruded into our lives, and isn't that what we see? That we have free and open radio, right? A free and open media, free and open TV, free and open wireless communications. No. I mean, we can look at the track record of the FCC and see that there haven't been no-bid contracts for entire geographical swaths of wireless monopolies. You know? We only have to look at the history here. And what are we hearing from the FCC? Well, it's all changed now. It was really bad before. You remember when Colin Powell's son was the head of the FCC? And free speech, every form of free speech was at risk until the people rebelled and he got kicked to the curb. I wonder what Michael Powell, what board he's sitting on now. Maybe the board of one of these telecom companies that is fighting his old FCC. So they have promised that the reform, perestroika, has come to the radio police. The FCC are now here to protect us. They're now here to protect a free and open Internet. Do any of you believe that? They would have, for my money, they would have had a better chance at putting this through if the FCC wasn't the ones at the tip of the spear. This message continues. In a speech at the Brookings Institution, that's another think tank, that's the phony left think tank, allegedly, Julius Janikowski said that the FCC must be a smart cop on the beat, preserving net neutrality against increased efforts by providers to block services and applications over both wired and wireless connections. Again, Julius Janikowski, the FCC, coming on their big white horse to save us. Janikowski's speech comes as a breath of fresh air in Washington policy environment that has long stagnated under the influence of a powerful phone and cable lobby. If we wait too long to preserve a free and open Internet, it will be too late, says Janikowski. We must act now. He was citing a number of recent examples where network providers have acted as gatekeepers. Well, that's what companies do. And again, that's why we as a consumer base, a public, need to be educated on who's doing what so that we can do what? Vote with our dollars. That is the only thing that is going to work. This continues. We have witnessed certain broadband providers unilaterally blocking access to VoIP applications, phone calls delivered over data networks, and implement technical measures that degrade the performance of peer-to-peer software distributing lawful content. We have even seen at least one service provider deny users access to political content. At least one? At least one. I know Comcast has done it. Don't they all do that? Isn't that just part of the overall Wild West frontier of the Internet? Remember the Wild West here in this country. What happened when the law came in? You can't even have guns in the West anymore. Can't protect yourself. Can't walk across the street. Can't drive your car without a seatbelt. Can't ride your bicycle without a helmet. Can't smoke. Can't be drunk in a bar. Thank God they came in and saved us from the gunslingers, the corrupt influences in the Wild West, which started off with what? the trusts, the corporations, the money changers. The fact of the matter is, yes, there are major problems on the Internet. And how did it get that way? It mentions it in this wonderful email of how the FCC is coming to save us with the help of the government and Congress. That is, that our politicians that are now telling us that they're come to save us were colluding with the telecom companies and their lobbyists in the same way they have colluded all these decades with the insurance companies, and now they're going to save us? Have we heard this all before? A call for wired and wireless neutrality. The agency, we know what they mean, has earlier noted concerns about blocking of applications and services on new handheld Internet devices such as iPhones. You know, that's your personal monitoring device where you allow self-surveillance of yourself and your family. BTC editorial, we celebrate the victory of net neutrality by posting an editorial. This is a separate article. We recognize the static between mainstream press and newer sensational journalism being cranked out by small government conservative blogs. That would be somebody like me, I guess. Bloggers like myself are willing to report exactly what's wrong with delegating too much steerage to the today's U.S. government. The tenure of the current federal corp of political players has become excessive and damaging to freedoms we are entitled to at birth as Americans. Big fans of the Constitution understand the integrity behind a positive, robust checks and balances system. Unfortunately, we don't have that system in good working order right now, or we're not working with that system at all. In the case of the latter, we need to dust off the enduring preserves of personal power we all possess and take responsibility for ourselves and our actions of our government. Sounds good so far? In essence, we call you to a different type of service to your country. Government accountability. This service is not necessarily one where you take up armed weapons and storm a tangible enemy. Let's not aim for the fly with a sledgehammer and wreck the building in the process. You don't send in a bull to negotiate in a room filled with fine china. Because we know it's worked so well so far to use finesse and to collaborate with our slave masters. I added that part. You send a decisive, shrewd adult who will tell the crooked merchant inside they have an unpenned bull, and unless they correct their course in a hurry, the bull will be by shortly to break their cases. Again, something to agree with. I don't have a problem with that. This is a preface for my criticism, often the reckless turns of some of my alternative news contemporaries who indulge in apocalyptic levels of fear-mongering with no empowering equipment or solutions for the ill-informed masses. They incite to hysteria. And that, again, I agree with. What I disagree with is being lumped into it. Because, of course, we do have the solutions, you just don't really want to hear them. Because inside your hard wiring is one that begs the government to do something, that negotiates with the government who has broken off every treaty and negotiation ever promised on behalf of freedom to the American people or the indigenous people of this country. What works? Somehow the effect that this fear-mongering, apocalyptic levels of fear-mongering with no empowering equipment or solutions for the ill-informed masses, inciting them into hysteria, somehow this effect creates a qualification of a hardening of the concerns of the people by political leadership. When they are approached, they tend to ignore people who have been stirred up into a hornet's frenzy over irresponsible, inadequate reporting. Politicians tend to adopt a defensive mask which appears much like indifference. I would argue that if we'd have done nothing, if we'd have stood back here these last 10 months, let alone the last 9, 10 years, we would have gotten exactly what we deserved, and it would have been much, much worse. Ere to say, we are having an effect. What we've done is working. Why hand off the baton to the government at this point? Some people are simply addicted to the adrenaline shock alarmist news creates. Others take it too seriously. Oftentimes it does not produce active, responsible people empowered with knowledge of what they can do to manage their government and their lives. Regardless, it's our goal to herald some bad news, tamp down rumors, and report news of victories and achievements of the people. One of those victories? Allegedly net neutrality. I have to talk a little bit more about this. Let's open this can of worms and follow the slime trail. We'll do that when we come back.